Hey man, so how you doing? This week's movie suggestion was one of yours, but how you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. How about you?
Um, don't know after watching this movie. I I don't know. This one was a hard watch for me, not because of content or anything, but because I was like at like so just for everybody, the suggestion for this week is a movie that I haven't seen, which has become a Richard Linklater. Is it Richard?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Modern classic, which is Boyhood, which was filmed over 12 years
Mm-hmm.
in the smallest big state of Texas, um, and
Hmm.
is like 3 hours long. Which, if you're covering 12
Two
years
and
of
a half.
time, 245 actually, or 247.
Too
Uh,
short, honestly. I think it should have been longer.
I could have done with like an hour less. I for one, I was like, all right, it's 8 o'clock. Let me start this movie, and then I looked at the runtime, and I was like, oh, well, I guess
Oh,
we're watching
uh,
this movie. Um, but so this is a movie I assume you've seen a couple of times.
yeah. Well, I saw it when it first came out in 2014. It started filming in 2002, wrapped up in 2014, and I saw it when it came out, and I thought it was okay actually. I I found it relatable, but didn't really take that much away from it. That was 12 years ago from now. So I, much like all the characters in the film, I've grown in 12 years, and I watched it again a couple weeks ago, just kind of randomly. And I was like, actually, like this is a lot better than I remember. And I actually had a really enjoyable time watching it. And and then I was like, "This would be good for the podcast," because I was talking to you about Richard Linklater. We both mentioned the movies we've seen, and had not said Boyhood, so I was like, "Fuck it, let's do Boyhood," because it was so recent in my memory. And but you said you had trouble watching it.
Only because it was so long and it doesn't follow any sort of typical plot. It honestly feels to me like it meanders through the 12 years. Which but for those who aren't familiar with Richard Linklater, he's a quite famous for he's very Texas about his movies.
A
So
slice of life.
he's School of Rock, Dazed and Confused, Before Midnight, Boyhood, um,
Slacker.
Bernie, which I really like Bernie.
Scanner
Uh,
Darkly.
Scanner Darkly, which he made immediately after another rotoscoped
Yeah,
movie.
Waking Life. Yeah.
Yeah. eh,
Many of the names we mentioned have no plot.
I mean, Bernie has a plot. School of Rock
But
has a plot.
Dazed and Confused, Slacker has no plot at all whatsoever. Boyhood, not really much of one. The sequel to Dazed and Confused, which is Everybody Wants Some. You got Waking a Life. All those plotless. But it's not about the plot for him. It's the journey. It's hanging out. It's just like we're gonna find these characters and we're just gonna hang out with them for a day or 12 years and just like kind of see what's going on.
Which we do. So the hook of this movie is that it was kind of a 12-year experiment, with a every year for 12 years he would sort of check in. They would do like a week of prep, and then a couple of days of shooting. Most of the people that came out have come out in this were like, yeah, like you kind of just forgot about it because the shooting schedule was very lax. It was just, which you would expect the shooting schedule to be kind of lax from the dude who did like Dazed and Confused and Slacker.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but also he didn't have any sort of set plot. He just made it up year to year as he went along,
No, he
which
had like an outline of how
yes,
the whole thing was gonna go,
there
but
was a general outline, but there was no specific writing. Like
yeah, there's no script.
from what I read in um actually an AMA with the the main
Director.
actor
Oh, Color.
LR
Yeah,
Coltrane.
right.
And then something I read with his daughter, who comes out in this movie as um, LR Coltrane's sister, which the director's daughter, like we see her also, you
Something.
know, age 12 years in this.
Yeah,
Lorelai Linkletter.
yeah.
Uh,
She just like all of a sudden she grows like 2 feet, and you're like, holy shit.
which is, you know, that's just sort of how it happens. Like from one year to the other, like, yeah, she kind of shot up. You know what's interesting though? Like, I looked her up, and what I found before I found anything about her was a
Mhm.
bunch of her art, and I was like, holy crap, I've been to a gallery showing
Oh
that
shit.
that featured her stuff. Like, I didn't know she was a local Texas or a local Austin based artist. Um, but yeah, apparently she's done like quite a few gallery shows around town.
Also
So
for the listeners, we are. I mean, I'm from Austin. You've recently moved here a few years ago. We're both from Texas, and I currently live in Houston, which part of this movie takes place in.
this I like the whole movie takes place in and around, I guess it's the triangle. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where the beginning takes place. That's like some town somewhere, I guess. Maybe somewhere near Houston. Then they're in Houston for a while, for a few years. Then they moved to San Marcos uh, when Mason is like beginning middle school. I guess end of elementary, and then he visits Austin near the end.
Well, and a lot of the areas that we see that are supposed to be San Marcos or Houston are still just Austin. There's a couple of scenes that are shot at a liquor store, and I'm like, I had to pause it, and I was like, I know that street. I drive down that street all the time.
And that liquor store guy, he's in Days Confused as
Yes, he's
yeah, you
playing the
recognize him?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's playing the exact same character apparently.
Yeah.
Um, so which is interesting because he was like one of the few. Um, uh, most of the people that come out in this are all Texas based, with the exception of like the parents and that guy. The parents being Patricia Arquette and Ethan Hawke, which while I didn't super love this movie, I do think this is one of my absolute favorite Ethan Hawke performances.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just, telling Amy, like, he's really kinda grown on me lately. I realized kinda recently that I've been sleeping on Ethan Hawke, like, I I've he's happened to come up in a lot of movies that I've watched recently, and I've just been like, "Wow, like, this dude's fucking good."
I mean, I've I've always kind of liked Ethan Hawke, though a lot of the times he was I forget who they used to they were like, "Oh, if you can't get so and so, there's Ethan Hawke," cuz he was like the poor man's somebody else. I just can't think of it off the top of my head.
Huh.
Um, but like I have you ever I don't think you've ever seen Bunraku, have you?
Uh-uh.
So Bunraku is Ethan Hawke, Woody Harrelson, um, what's her name who plays Trinity?
Carrie Ann Moss.
Carrie Ann Moss. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it Carrie Ann Moss? Or
Yeah.
am I confusing it with somebody else who's in Bunraku? And then what's his name? Hellboy.
Oh,
Um,
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman's in it. Like Gact, who's like the lead singer from a Japanese uh, visual key band, is in it. Um, wait,
Okay.
no, 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 it's not Ethan Hawke. It's Josh Hartnett. That's who I was
Wow.
confusing him for.
Wow.
They're
I okay.
basically interchangeable.
They look similar. I
They're
mean,
basically interchangeable.
they have the same mustache.
And actually, I think so. I think Ethan Hawke does come. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna. So I think Ethan Hawke does come out in this movie as the doppelganger of Josh
Mm.
Hartnett. Um, don't quote me on that. I'd have to look it up, and I don't want to spend the
You heard it
time
here first, folks.
IMDbing it. But
But
Unraku, yeah. Anyway,
but Boyhood, um,
Boyhood, Boyhood,
Boyhood.
Boyhood.
I think it's a movie that, like, first of all, it's like I've seen 3 different opinions. Either you love it, which I have grown to, or you absolutely hate it, or it's just, like, kinda okay. It's not like, yeah, it's pretty good, not my favorite, but there's none of that. It's you love it or you hate it, or it's just like, okay.
I will say that when I've mentioned this movie to people, the general consensus, the two people that I mentioned it to both said pretty much the exact same thing, which was the way it was made was cool. I don't remember anything about the movie. And having just watched it, that's also kind of my takeaway. Like I
Okay.
don't because the basic structure of it is, you know, we follow we follow Mason Jr. Through what we see
The
him as he
12
goes
years of
off to
school.
college.
Yeah,
So
it's kindergarten through 12th grade, and then, yeah, his up till he moves to college.
um and it doesn't have any, you don't, even though it's sort of scripted for the most part, we never see any of like what you would normally think of like some of the super defining moments in someone's life. Like we never
Well,
find out
argue
who his,
that they all are.
well, all of them go into who he is, but like you don't see, like we don't find out who his first love is. We don't
Yeah.
we don't explicitly find out when he loses his virginity. We don't find out when his first kiss. Did he ever get in a fist fight? Like the sort of things
That's what
that
I'm
when you're
saying, it's not long enough.
so other movies like this, like if we think about Temporada de Patos, which is like a Mexican movie that follows two best friends through like a day in, like there's a lot of like little moments that these movies share. One of them is just like the two neighborhood kids looking at a lingerie magazine and being like, "Oh man, look at them boobies." Which that was relatable because
Oh, man, this whole movie's relatable.
I not as much for me. Um,
Okay. I
like
mean, no, I mean, but there's certain parts that do.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you had to have a certain, like, this movie is basically as Richard Linklater's daughter described it, the movie, Mason is basically her Mason Jr. is basically her dad,
Yeah.
and Mason Sr. is in parts her dad and her dad's dad, her grandfather.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he basically made his own story kinda. He
yeah,
had similar growing up. And so, like, yeah, I've listened to him, Richard Linklater, talk about it, how he got the idea of it. He just became a father to, Lorelai, and he was experiencing that, and he wanted to make a movie about, like, not just parenting, but experiencing growing up from his own point of view. But also he had a thing about coming of age movies where, kind of like what you were bringing up, he didn't like how coming of age movies say that there's just one big defining moment that is the coming of age that transforms you, or the protagonist. So he wanted to make a movie that through a whole 12 years, it's the entire thing is the literal coming of age. And it's like all the stuff you were talking about, like first kiss and all that. And like, yeah, but like this is more of a philosophical movie. It's like kind of less about like the events that everybody goes through and more about like opinions and life experiences that like kind of shape the way you think about life. And so that's more of the stuff that we get.
which is, I mean, a little, for me, that's a little concerning because really, like, instead of seeing any of the highlights or the high points in Mason's Jr.'s life, like we just see all the trauma he goes through,
Yeah.
like all the the bad parts, which like, it's a story about the journey. So it's really a documentation of all the bad he went through, and then at the end he has this very calm moment where it's like, okay, I think things are gonna be okay. I think like I'm my own person now. I'm not, or even though I am, the total sum of my upbringing, I don't have to be the total sum of my upbringing, which is, because this is basically Richard Linklater's story. It's, but I'm to a certain extent, I mean, it's also like his sister and his mother's story.
Yeah.
Um, I think like his mother, we follow her through how many bad marriages?
Well, two marriages and two boyfriends. So the first one is with Ethan Hawke. He's her
Mason
first
Senior.
husband. Yeah. And then the first boyfriend we only see for like one scene where she's fighting with him because he wanted to go out to a bar
Oh,
and
that's right.
yeah, she was like, "I have kids, I can't do it. I have a
Yeah, I forgot about that
responsibility."
guy.
And he was just that guy was an asshole. He was just like, "Stop using your kids as an excuse and go out and have fun with me." And she's just like, "I don't know what that's like," because she had kids early,
Yeah,
and
later
so
in the movie, she's like, or maybe it's there that she's like, I I was a kid and then I had kids and now I'm here.
yeah, exactly. Which is yeah, her arc is pretty cool because the very beginning and the very end, she has these like kind of uh,
Blow ups.
existential blow ups, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she's just unsure of what to do with life, like all of us. So yeah, that's the first guy. He's gone like immediately, and then we see like the biggest one is the college professor who it becomes her second husband, who ends up being drunk and abusive, and then he's gone, and then you get the asshole correctional guy who is a veteran who's just like he's just made an asshole and then he's
who
gone.
who wasn't an asshole at the beginning was
No,
actually
none of them
like,
were.
I don't know. I like the professor. We find out through the dialogue of his kids, Mindy and boy,
Boy, Randy.
Johnny, Randy. I knew it was an E. We find out through their dialogue that he in fact has always been an asshole.
Well, yeah, I
He's
mean,
just
he
really good at
progressively
hiding it.
yes, and he progressively gets worse, and he stops hiding it,
Yeah.
and it's terrible. However, I do really appreciate the character development with this guy.
I the one thing I really do appreciate is just when they're sitting at the table and he's like, "What? You don't like me? That's fine. I don't like me either." And I was like,
He's like funny when he's also being like really horrible and terrifying. Like that actor played it pretty well.
"Yeah. Yeah." I mean, he did play that like just everybody knows somebody like that
Yeah,
who considers themselves to be a good and upstanding person, might be an educator, but is really deeply flawed and unhappy
yeah,
and has
exactly.
to externalize that on other people or through alcoholism.
Yeah, and so, like, I found his character to be, like, a really good character study of, like, exactly what you're saying, like, when we meet him, he's charming, he's really friendly, he's really supportive of b of the children, and, like, he takes them golfing, and he's just like, "Yeah, good job," but he is being, like, kind of a dick to his own son, and that's where it kinda starts is, you're just like, the way he's talking to his son is like, "I don't really like that." And then, but he is still being kinda fun, so but then progressively, as time goes on, he gets shittier and shittier until the end of the relationship with the mom. He's like absolutely like the worst person alive, and it's like the progression is really cool.
Well, I mean, and then the one after that, like he started really nice. He bought Mason Jr. a camera, which sets him on
Yeah,
his path of
he said he
artistic
was gonna turn the
creation.
closet into a dark room.
Yeah,
And
whoa.
yeah, he's taking care of the family. Like he's pay like I don't know. He makes this whole deal about he's like paying the bills and taking care of everybody, and like he's actually like uh trying to keep Mason in line. You know, he's like giving him a hard time for coming home late. Like he's parenting him. Like he clearly cares, but he's a fucking dick. Which I appreciate that too, because it's like none of these characters are all good or all bad. They all have flaws and they all have like good sides to them. You know, it's like, um, and especially in the beginning, they all the relationships start out nice and then they progressively get worse. So it's like, in hindsight, you could look at Olivia and say she has a terrible taste in men. But really, none of them started out as bad as they ended up. And so you can't really like blame her for that because she got blindsided by all of them. And so did they themselves too,
I
maybe.
mean, maybe it's just Patricia Arquette. Maybe she just brings out the worst because hasn't she been? She's been divorced a couple of times, or at least once.
Twice, yeah.
And she had a couple. Like I remember, she had a couple of very public.
Oh, you're talking about the
Uh,
actress.
yeah, the actual
Oh, okay.
actress. That's why I'm like, maybe it's just Patricia Arquette. Like,
Like the script, the idea, like Richard Linklater coming up with it, he had no idea to do any of it that way, and then just like working with her, he's like, "Oh yes, I know. I'll make all of her husbands just fucking terrible."
or I mean, because the from what I had read in some of those AMAs, a lot of the dialogue did come from was shaped by the characters playing it. To a certain extent. Linkletter still had overarching control. But like even his
Yeah,
daughter talks about how she did have quite a bit of input. She but had it been fully in her control, she would have taken the character of Sam in a different direction. So, like if Patricia Arquette was going through some shit, like it stands to reason that
it's
maybe she
possible. Yeah,
brought some of that into the production.
it's possible.
Uh,
I do
we,
know that he grew up in a with a few stepdads who were kind of. I think he said that they were kind of drunk and abusive. So not maybe not to the same extent that they are in the movies. So it could be both. Like you do bring up a really good point.
and then we have Mason Sr. who goes from being an absentee father, and he makes the point to both Sam and Mason Jr. like, hey, don't get knocked up or don't knock anybody
Yeah,
up too early
like
because you and
he's
your
a
mother, me and your mother were children, and then we had children.
yeah
Uh, and he was like, and he was very like he was upfront about it. He's like, I just couldn't be there. I didn't know how to be a dad. I didn't want to be a dad. And he came back around and became an actuary and started selling insurance from
yeah.
being a musician.
Got married, grew a mustache, had a baby, and he's like all square now. And
He sold his 1968 GTO, traded it in for a minivan.
yeah, yeah, his progression is great too.
I,
Um,
I
but he's such a great father, and we see that through the whole movie. Like I've heard some people call him a like a deadbeat dad. I don't agree with that at all. Like I because like yeah, he got divorced from their mom. That their relationship didn't work out. That's it just happens.
I don't think they were
Uh,
ever even
no,
married.
they were they talk about it
Do
because she
they?
was married twice, and yeah, it's like they don't specifically say it, but it's hinted a lot. Like yeah, um, but yeah, they were. And then he went to go work in Alaska.
Yeah,
So
and I was like, I get that. That was the one. So out of all the characters, for one, not knowing Linkletter's like background or history, um, Mason Sr. very much felt like the fantasy father figure that he wanted,
mm,
or that he wanted to be, which sort of goes into what his daughter was saying that that Mason Sr. is parts are her dad now and her dad's dad, like the teaching her to shoot and the trying to be present even though there's other things going on in his life.
yeah,
Um,
which we don't really see those things as much, but like from because everything is from Mason's point of view, so we only
mm,
see what he sees, which is really good storytelling because it's not like there's a bunch of exposition. We just like piece everything together. So like the dad's not around, then he shows up and he's like, "Hey, I'm back." But he only sees them every 2 weeks because probably it is a court order. And we see him hand Olivia an envelope, which we can only assume, well, not only assume, but we can assume that it's child support. And so like he's doing his best, he's just he's a musician. He's not just I guess the way that Olivia wants him to be, which he says at the end. Like it took him like 15-20 years to become the man that she always wanted him to be.
yeah.
And so Yeah, so he's trying his best, and he's there with his kids. He's having fun with them. He's giving them experiences. He takes them to the cockerel
The
butterfly
Butterfly Center,
exhibit.
which for the listeners has not really changed at all in 12 years. They're in fact still using the exact same like butterfly identification cards from when this movie was made
And how do
because
you know that?
we were just there. Um and and it has not changed whatsoever. Except the plants are bigger. That's the only real change is the plants are bigger.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, your girlfriend is my wife's best friend. So, my wife has been talking to y'all about like come visit us in Houston and we could go see the butterflies. And then y'all did. And then like we'd already planned to do this movie. I knew that scene was there. And so I was just like geeking out the entire time we were there. And but I didn't want to like say it. I wanted you to like watch the movie and be like, "Oh, hey, the butterflies."
I mean that was cool, but honestly, I got a bigger kick out of the street the liquor store is on because that White House on the corner. I have driven past that White House
Where is it?
so many times. It's on Brody.
Oh, okay.
In fact, that liquor store is not it, there's a completely different liquor store there now.
Huh.
Um, but which looks a little different, but for the most part, that gas station, that neighborhood, except for there's more trees now, exactly the same. Like the houses are all still painted the same, still the same intersection. Um, that honestly was recognizing that intersection was like, wait a minute, I think I've stopped there. Um,
That's cool. Yeah.
and then there was uh recognize so Mason goes to go visit his very conservative grandparents who give him a gun because
And a Bible.
and a Bible, a gun and a monogrammed Bible because Texas. Uh I'm pretty sure that was in Bastrop because that looks
Oh
like
yeah. I
the
was wondering.
so the cool thing about Bastrop for people that don't know, there's a section in Bastrop called Lost Pines, and what it is this whole area covered in a pine forest. But the closest pine forest is in East Texas. Now, in other states, East and West are like, oh yeah, that's not too far. We're talking in this case, we're talking about like a 7 hour drive or a 6 hour drive, because Texas is just that big.
Yeah.
But they're genetically identical. There was something that occurred in like the Pliocene that everything between East Texas and this one lot like stand of pines died off. So it's a cool little like bubble, which is why
Mhm.
I recognized it and I was like, wait a minute, that looks like Bastrop. So I'm gonna have to look it up at some point, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. And then I'm pretty sure they were at Pedernales State Park,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, they
where
were. I
Mason Jr. and
recognized
Senior.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's the cool thing about the Richard Linklater movies is like since they were mostly all filmed in Austin and the surrounding area, and growing up in Austin, um, I just like I geek out. Like there's so many recognizable places if you've spent a lot of time living here, which you not too much time, but yeah,
Antone's was I've been in Antone's so many times, so I was like, oh man,
we
like,
went there together.
what did we watch at Antone's?
There, it was like a folk band of some sort.
Oh, Mipso.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
We watched Mipso at Antone's. Yeah, that's right. And then Magnolia. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
that
I
one.
was
I
I
had to
was
look
like,
it up, and I was like, "Is that Magnolia?"
I thought it was,
No.
yeah, because I
It
was
was,
like,
yeah.
me and Amy, we were watching it, and I was like, I think this is Magnolia Cafe.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because that's on South Congress, and they that whole night they're on South Congress. Like not well, no, Antone's is a different scene. But yeah, the concert that they go to, they walk out and they're like walking along the street sign. You can see the Penis Motel.
Ah, yes, the Penis Motel. It is a motel that has a neon sign outside in the shape of a phallus, which in fact, over this trip at the Cockerel Butterfly Center, Cockerel, came up and picture, you know, to think
Yeah,
about it, it came up and pictures of the Penis Motel were shown at the Cockerel.
yeah.
We did look at the penis at the Cockerel. Even
Yeah,
the
man.
bowling alley
I mean,
looked
that it takes
familiar.
place in Houston. That could have been anywhere.
No, no, I'm pretty sure that was I'm pretty sure that
Like
was in
Westgate Lanes or
Austin.
something.
No, that's still, well, isn't that still there?
Yeah,
No, I think it
it
might
should
have
be.
been
It definitely was when they filmed it.
I think it might have been Dart Bowl. Do you remember
Oh,
Dart
no.
Bowl?
No.
There was just something about like the little like food spot they were eating at that reminded me of Dart Bowl and the like because there was the same grimy tables, like the same background. Um, I should go bowling.
Yeah, me too. But,
Anyway,
yeah, so Richard Linklater, like, his movies are really, like, cool. Like, if you watch Days of Confused, there's a bunch of, like, all every scene in that movie is, like, a really well-known spot in Austin, and I once went to a friend of mine, he threw a Days of Confused party where we watched the movie, and then we went to all the locations in the movie, and we like hung out outside that like pool hall. We went to the burger joint that they went to, that fast food restaurant. I
was it
forgot what it was called. Top
top
Notch.
notch?
Yeah. We went to the football stadium where the cops chased them out, and we were like drinking. We couldn't get inside the stadium, but we were drinking in the parking lot, and a cop came and chased us away. So it was great.
I still have yet to go to top notch.
It was alright.
I mean, it's also supposed to be one of those classic institutions, but I was like, I wonder if there's any specific reason. No, he just doesn't like traveling. He doesn't like
Probably.
spending any
I mean,
amount of time away, and
you're probably right.
he specific he hates
I mean, who
LA.
doesn't? Who doesn't?
I don't know, man. I had a pretty good time in LA. Everything was kind of expensive, but you know, like
He kind of
Texas is getting there.
revolutionized Austin. Him and Robert Rodriguez, they revolutionized Austin as like the like next Hollywood, like the independent film of like yeah, the city to go to make independent films.
I mean, we have had Austin Studios, I think that's what it's called. We've had a massive like film movie studio uh like stages here forever. Like um Austin Studios, it's something crazy. It's something like 15 acres of like back lots and studio spaces and editing spaces. Um in fact, so Rooster Teeth, like I don't know if you're familiar with Rooster Teeth, like they used to do a
Uh,
bunch of animated stuff. But they had their film like production studio based out of Austin Studios. I
okay,
don't know when it was founded, but it's been around for like ever. So there is a like there is a built-in system in Austin for movie making and for like up and coming directors. Plus, we have a really good Austin has a really good like radio and video production program that a lot of producers have come out of. I think Linklater came out of it. What's his name? Who did Asteroid City?
I don't know.
Who did uh, Darjeeling Limited?
I don't know.
Uh, oh my God, we we brought him up the other day when we were talking about all the different Texas directors. Oh my God, it's gonna kill me if I don't remember what the name of the stupid director is. Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Wes Anderson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Like Wes Anderson, didn't he graduate from UT with All Right, All
I
Right, All Right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he did, which is why he casts him quite a bit, or why they're friends. But anyway, um,
Back to
I
Boyhood?
think we've moved through. So the next points that I wanted to talk about was all the key plot developments, but I think we've actually moved through most of them. The one thing I do want to bring out is every time they had to move or change schools, it was sort of like a marker or like a flag in the sand for these moments of instability in Mason
Mhm.
Jr.'s life. Like he would get a bit of stability and regularity, and then for whatever reason, usually because his mom was dating an asshole, they would have to uproot and he basically would have to reset his life.
Yeah, which can't be easy.
I not, I mean like base sprats go through it all the time, but
He seemed
for
to be okay with it. L his sister complained a
well,
lot,
I mean
but
she was older and
she was a little shit the whole movie. Uh, but him, he seemed to just kinda go with it.
and maybe there's something to be said about actually verbalizing that level of unhappiness instead of bottling it up.
Well, he do and that's what's I find interesting about his character progression is that, like, in the first, third of the movie, Mason doesn't really say much. He doesn't really have a whole lot of agency. It's mostly Samantha has like all the fun dialogue and she's really like funny and stuff. And then you see um Olivia and like his dad and everybody around him, the stepdad and everything. But he doesn't really say a whole lot. But if you look at his face, he's doing a lot of observing, and he just spends the first third of the movie just observing everything and just taking everything in. And then yeah, I guess the second act, he starts to get more of a voice
Where do you
as
consider the second act to start?
Um, probably. I guess after they leave the drunk stepdad when he goes to middle school,
The which of the two? The Professor Wellbrook,
the actual
the
stepdad, yeah, the professor, yeah. So like the second act, he's already done all the observing, and now he's starting to like speak his mind a little bit more, and or I guess when they're, like, living with the stepdad because he cuts his hair, and that's the first time he really complains, I think. It's like, "That was my hair, and he didn't ask, he just cut it." And so he's starting to, like, not complain, but, like, develop his own voice and form his own agency. And then in the 3rd act, that's when all the opinions comes out.
where do you
He, like,
consider the
kinda
third
becomes his own
act
person.
to start?
Uh, but I guess high school. So it's like elementary school, middle school, high school.
All right.
And yeah, so when he's in high school, like, he's tired of everybody bossing him around and, as he said, like, "all up my ass." And he's just like not just having his own voice, but having his own opinion. He's going the way that he wants to go instead of what everybody's telling him to do, and he's just like learning about who he is.
So
And
then do
so
you consider Mason's high school graduation and transition to college sort of his transition into himself,
yeah, I mean that time, yeah, that period of time.
like him finally claiming some of that agency over his own life?
Yeah, because and then when he's driving to Austin with his girlfriend to go visit the sister and like check out the UT campus area, he's talking about how he doesn't like Facebook because he wants to have like a conversation with somebody, and she's just like calling him out on his bullshit, like, um, but like yeah, he's starting to become like pretty negative. His sister calls him a stick in the mud, and he yeah doing a lot of complaining, but it's all like based on life experiences. And like you mentioned earlier, he didn't have a whole lot of positive life experiences, but like when people treat him well, like the camera really focuses on him smiling a lot and like learning from those experiences, which like I think that this movie will grow on you the more times you see it and you start to like observe him as like the actor portraying the character, and not so much like if you're not, you ignore the looking for plot and kind of just like focus on following the character around. Like there's a lot of really subtle stuff that kind of shapes the story of the movie.
Yeah, which I think is part of the reason that I had trouble with this movie because I don't like passive like that sort of when I'm ingesting media, I want to go for a ride. Like
I mean,
I
it takes
don't
you on a ride.
I d- mm, I don't want to read somebody's journal unless it's like or somebody's diary unless it's like the Diary of Anne Frank, you know?
I
Um
got you. I mean, it's not for everybody.
it's
Uh, I
it's
I
it
just appreciate the subtle like the filmmaking
I
part of it, I
yes,
guess.
like I can appreciate the artistry and the experiment of, filming a movie over 12 years, but like this movie sort of hit for me where like trash TV hits for me in
Okay.
that where it's sort of voyeuristic because it's
Yeah.
not hitting plot points, it's not hitting development. Um it's just sort of like here is all the parts of this person's life. Um it's like the Truman Show without the meta plot, you know? Except so one of the issues that I had with this film was the for one, representation in this movie is very bad. Like Austin, they're living in Houston and there's like not a single black person anywhere. And
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
get it.
I
I'm
mean, that's
like
the point.
Richard Linklater probably had a very like white upbringing in a very small, closed community, which 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, Houston, Austin were not entirely segregated, but were,
Austin was pretty segregated.
I mean, yes. I mean, segregation didn't officially stop until 1960 eight. And I mean, for the most part, like Houston, 1964 was when segregation officially ended. So if we're thinking of this movie as sort of a mirror of Linklater's upbringing, that's why like it makes sense that it's a very like,
Yeah.
white Anglo-Saxon Protestant
No, I
upbringing.
was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Um, but for the time it was filmed, like Houston is very ethnically diverse. San Marcos, even back then, would have been predominantly Hispanic. Um, and the only like Hispanic person we see is
Yeah.
very stereotypically digging a ditch. Um, is working in Olivia's backyard, and then very out of character for the writing, we have this moment where he comes back and he's like,
Yeah.
"Thank you, white woman who is also a teacher, for putting me on the right path. Listen, kids, you should listen to your mother. She's a good white lady."
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree with you 100%. That was kind of it. Yeah.
what's the movie with what am I the Dangerous Minds? Um, is that what I'm thinking of with
I'm
Michelle
not sure.
Pfeiffer?
I hadn't
Yes.
seen that movie. So,
I think it's Michelle Pfeiffer. It's Dangerous Minds. It's basically she's like, I'm gonna go work in an urban with urban youth and turn their life around.
and it's like she didn't even do much. She just said, "You're smart. You should go to school," and then walks away. And then it is just such an eye-opening moment for this guy. He's like, "Well, I can't. There's no time. I work." And she's like, "No, go to night classes." And then he shows up 10 years later and it's just like, "You changed my life by telling me one thing."
See, it was she didn't even tell him to go to night. Like there wasn't even that much exposition. She was like, "You're a smart guy. You should go to school." Okay, I gotta go. My kids are over there. And then there's like,
Yeah.
there's a moment of him like looking at her like, "Okay,"
She
and then
probably
10
forgot about it like immediately.
and then 10 years later, he's like, You changed my life. You put me on the right path. You
But
white
did
saviored the shit out of me."
Yeah, but did his life really improve that much? He's a manager of a restaurant.
I mean, he got his associates and he was working on his bachelor's. Yeah, to be fair, then that restaurant was like a Bennigan's.
Yeah, like I don't see much improvement from there, to
He
be honest.
he probably made honestly he probably because here's the thing. He was he had at least one person working for him. Like he
Yeah,
wasn't the one digging the ditch, he was the foreman. He was probably making more money
I
as a
know.
job site foreman
Exactly.
than he was as a Bennigan's manager.
Oh,
But
dude. I all right. Here's my theory. It ruined his life, right? He took her advice. He went to school. He got his degree. He got this shitty job which he hated. And he was like, if I ever see that woman again, and then he does see her, and like he's like, oh yeah, you changed my life. And hey kids, you should listen to her. She knows what she's talking about. Wink. Don't worry. Dinner's on me. Don't. And then he like poisons their food.
I mean, I honestly hadn't thought about the fact that yeah, he's probably like he was probably better off as a job site
Yes,
foreman, and
absolutely.
he was probably like getting paid in cash, so he wasn't reporting a whole lot of it. But maybe once he gets his bachelor's.
Like,
And then the only other like minority we see is Olivia's friend, who's like a good supportive friend, and then we
yeah,
come back
she was
10 years
weird.
later and she's like, you 18 now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, you broke up with your girlfriend? Oh, okay. So, do you need a ride to college?" And she sips her wine, and I was like, and then it just cuts to the next scene, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
And those are and that's all the minorities in the movie. That's that's
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
Um
It is a very white movie, which Again, yeah, it makes sense because it's what he knows. It's like I heard somebody on another podcast talk about it, and he said like, what if it was like Boyhood was about a Hispanic gay person, and well, that's not Richard Linklater's story to tell.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it definitely should have been more diverse. I completely agree with you on
I
that.
mean, even with just some of the background characters
Yeah,
for
just some
the
like random people. Yeah.
for the period it was filmed, like the only other like black people I saw were a couple of the football players in San Marcos and a dude at a party. Like,
Yeah.
and
And it's
what's cool is
2002 to 2014. Like that's not a long time ago.
well, and what's cool is a lot of so like all those scenes were filmed guerrilla style. Like they
Yeah.
just showed up to a football game. They showed up to book
Oh,
people
dude.
at the release of
I've
Harry
got
Potter.
yeah, that have you heard the Harry Potter story?
No, what's the Harry Potter story?
So Lorelai, who plays Samantha, she was actually going to the Harry Potter thing. Like with her friends as just herself. It had nothing to do with the movie. And then her dad was like, "Oh, that would be great for the movie." And he like grabs Mason and the whole film crew and takes them with her and makes her like film the scene, and she
And
hated it.
Randy and Mindy, which it turns out so from a little thing I saw from her, the girl who plays Mindy is her childhood best friend, so she was always around anyway.
Oh, okay. I didn't
So
know that.
it makes sense that they were probably already going to this thing. So Linklater was just like, "Find me Mason, find me Randy," and the actor who plays Mason
Yeah.
is from Austin. He grew up in Austin, so he
Right.
probably like drove down the street and was like, "Get in the car."
Yeah, but Lorelai hated it. She because apparently she wanted to be in the movie before, like when he was just thinking about the idea of making the movie. His daughter is just like, I want to be in your movie. She had like a part in Waking Life apparently. Um and but she got so tired of filming it, she completely lost interest. And like the Harry Potter thing, she hated it so much. Like if you look at the scene, you can see that she it looks like she just finished crying. Like she like literally had a meltdown during that film scene. And then she asked him to kill her character off.
Oh yeah, I did read a thing with her about that she like she had showed initial interest in wanting to be an actress and her dad was like, "Cool, I'm doing a movie, you're in it." And then she
For
loved
12
it.
years.
She loved it and then she hated it around 13 and 14 and then she loved it again towards the end.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
Which
sure how
on
she felt at the
Yeah,
end.
which honestly one of my favorite scenes is when she's not there, where Mason and his girlfriend are like sleeping in
Uh,
Sam's bed, and her roommate's like, I'm gonna go for a little while. So yeah. And Mason's like, yeah, yeah, we'll be gone by then. Yeah, yeah, sorry.
it was like like we gotta go anyway. So and like that roommate like accidentally turned it around to make her like the one being the intruder.
Yeah,
Like she
she felt like an intruder in her own house, which is like that was a cool, that was one of the few moments in this movie where I was like, I know that feeling because I had gone to a show with someone I was dating at the time, and their best friend was like, "Oh, you can crash on my couch. I'm not gonna be there, but you can crash on my couch. Like I'm gonna be staying at my boyfriend's place." didn't tell us that they had a roommate, didn't tell the roommate we were staying. So the roommate woke up in the morning and was like being very loud in the kitchen because all of a sudden these strangers are
Yeah.
on their couch and we were like, "Oh, they didn't tell you that we were oh, we're sorry. We'll be out of here like real soon."
Yeah,
So,
I had a roommate that did the same thing too.
yeah, so that was one of the few moments where I was like, "All right, this is kind of relatable." Yeah, I don't know. This movie wasn't it was interesting in its creation, it was interesting in its process, it was interesting in its filming, which going back to that liquor store, I'm still just like, how did he get he must have been on top of the building next door because the angle it's shot at
Mm,
is over the fence line, down at an angle, but you can see the liquor store and the gas station. So he
yeah.
must have been a story above the liquor store. And I remember just being like, wow, where? Was he on a cherry picker? Like how did he what? Yeah, the so far my big
Okay.
takeaway is like that street, man.
I found it a lot more relatable because, like, not in the elementary or middle school time, but in the high school years, I was Mason. Like, I was that moody kid who is just like uh, not really getting along with everybody, like going my own direction, and like not sure where I wanted to be in life. Like everybody's telling him, like you have to, do your assignments and do all that, and he's just like, maybe I don't want to do that. Like that was me. So I definitely saw myself in him. And then I didn't come from a broken home, but I had a lot of friends who did and had like kind of similar experiences with like step parents and uh seeing their dad every other weekend and stuff like that. Like I was around them a lot, so I saw uh a lot more relatability in this movie. So that's part of the reason why I enjoy it so much because I'm just like this movie is like it's life. Even the bad moments, at least they're like really um uh like authentic.
That's the thing though, except for the ending and like yeah, no, pretty much the ending because I was like, well, the ending and the parts with the dad once he's grown up, but that's the ending. There really isn't any good moments. Like I think one really nice moment that comes around full circle is after, Mason has his little meltdown because his drunken stepfather cuts his like buzz cuts him or shaves his head. And then
And
they
then
have
says
to
he looks like a little girl too.
yeah, it sends him to a new which his other drunken stepfather says the same thing because he's got black nail polish. Um but like after he gets his haircut and he has to move to a new school, there's a little girl that passes him a note that reads, "I think your hair is cool," and it's signed Nicole.
Hmm.
Um, and at the end of the movie, he goes on a hike with his roommate, who's just like, "Hey, we're going to on a hike to Big Bend because they're at Sul Ross University, which is not too far outside of Big Bend." Um, and his roommate's girlfriend's best friend is who he instantly like connects with, and they have like a very nice quiet moment.
Yeah.
Is also named Nicole,
Oh, that's
and
interesting. I never
I
caught on to
went
that.
yeah, well, I went to go look at the like the order of appearance list, and I couldn't find one for the little girl named Nicole
Uh-huh.
in the classroom. The
Right.
only Nicole was the one from the end of the only
Yeah,
like
and they looked very similar too.
Yeah, they did. So the only
So was
Nicole
it the
listed,
same girl? Like, same
I
actress and everything?
no. So they actually asked, they asked L.R. Coltrane that in an AMA, and he's like, you know, I didn't even notice they had the same name, but
I mean, it was years
but
later.
it literally like 8 years later. But he's like, it could have been the same person. That would be a really good Easter
That
egg.
would be, yeah, I mean, that's poetic kinda, because the first girl like, notices him and shows him her, like, paying attention to him is, also the last one. And, like, after all the bullshit with other girlfriends and stuff, and everybody doesn't work out, he ends up with, like, that first girl that liked him. Like, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Well, but also that was another one because where I was like, oh, there's like 2 points in this movie where the plot is just like I'm just like, oh no, it doesn't follow the typical outline for this movie. That was the other one. One of them was the like Latino foreman being like,
Yeah.
"You changed my life," and the other one was like,
Oh, so you
"Hi,
didn't like that.
I was the little girl that
That was
no, I was the little girl you met 12 years ago. We've been destined to be together this whole
well,
time."
I don't see it as that. I see it as more of a coincidence
Yeah,
because,
it probably was. I
like, I mean, probably on purpose from Richard Linklater. But it was, like, in the narrative, a coincidence, and, so I do like that, like, it's just, like, shit happens.
I can just see him sitting there like writing it out and like trying to figure out the name for this character and then just giggling like a child like
I'm gonna find that girl.
it's gonna be this. I mean, to be fair, these are all people from Austin. He probably like she probably like lived down the street and was
Yeah, it
like,
could be.
"Hey,
I know that, grandma's house was, like, the director of photography's, like, aunt or something like that.
that's what like I'm like that legitimately could have been like his wife's friend's daughter because apparently that's
Yeah.
how he cast this thing
For
was
sure,
like
yeah. I mean, that's probably, well, yeah, probably the easiest way to find extras, just, like, not actors, but just, like, random people.
yeah, like, oh, Lorelai, you got a best friend? Cool, she's in the movie. Like,
As your stepsister, like,
sister, yeah.
but she
Which,
was barely even in that movie too, like, she
which,
just was, like, kinda hanging around.
but they did have some really nice sisterly chemistry, and like, especially like they have moments where they're like laying on the bed, um, like next to each other, and they're like just having this like very chit chat, but like it's the way um Sam and Mindy interact was very natural. And like after finding out that that was her like childhood best friend, like you get why it was so natural because it probably a lot of that wasn't scripted. It was just them being kids
Yeah.
who
Yeah,
who
for
have
sure,
who've grown
and,
up
like, jumping
together.
on the trampoline and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like so I wonder if Randy was also just like, hey, hey, LR, who's your best friend? Cool. He's now your brother in this movie.
Right.
Um
You know what I like? Speaking of those kids in the narrative, um, it's very interesting that the whole thing with the drunken abusive stepdad, it's such an intense moment in this movie, and, like, it's the most dramatic thing by far, and then it just ends, and it's never brought back up, and the movie just keeps going, and it's still like in the first half of the movie, and you never see the stepdad or the step siblings ever again, and you're kind of wondering like, well, what about them? Like, what happens to them? And it's like that is the authentic thing that I appreciated about the movie, is that that's how life goes.
I I don't
You know,
know. I see, and I had the I think like even with the fallout, like these kids grew up together, they clearly all have cell phones because at one point the drunken stepfather is like, "Everybody give me your cell phone
Right.
so that I can go through it to find out if you've talked to your
That's
mother."
true.
Which means they have each other's cell phone numbers. Like San Marcos is at that point she moves no, they're
From Houston.
from Houston to San Marcos. It's a 4-hour drive. So it's reasonable that, they would still be able to see each other, or especially with Sam becoming an adult, like moving to Austin and becoming an adult like 2 years before Mason. Like it'd be nice to have some sort of like, oh yeah, I saw Mindy and Randy, but all we get is Sam has a very like poignant moment of like, what about Mindy and Randy? You abandoned them with that man. And the mom, Olivia's like, well, I called CPS. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, it would be kidnapping if she took them
Yeah,
with her.
yeah, which she says. She's like, it'd be, those, I'm not their legal guardian. That would be kidnapping. Um, but, but she's like, I called CPS. That's the best I can do. And we move to the next scene. And that is the last we ever hear of Mindy and Randy.
I
Like,
do think it's authentic, but not so much for them, but like with at least the point I was gonna make is the stepfather is that like when you get out of an abusive relationship, you don't see that person again, especially if you're the child of that abusive relationship. Like the mom will like make sure that you don't see that guy again. And so since the movie is from his perspective, it's like we don't see him again because I'm like maybe Olivia does see him because they have to get divorced. So she's obviously going to see him again. But like Mason's doesn't. And so life just goes on for him.
I don't know. Maybe it's because, I mean, like talking about like experiences, growing up, like I had lots of friends that also came from single parent households, but the difference was those parents, like for the most part, never remarried. They're always like, I'm a strong and independent woman. I'm gonna raise all of you on my own. Which my best friend's mom, who, basically was like my second mom growing up, she was like, nope, had enough abusive men in my life. I'm good. And and she just kind of like raised 4 kids on her own being a
Well,
teacher.
Olivia did too later.
Yes.
It took her a couple more guys. As Mason said, a parade of drunken assholes. But she does like she has that epiphany later on. She was like, "I'm just gonna do my own thing." But like he's already like a senior in high school by that point.
Yeah. And then the other thing was like, so, like I've had friends that have blended families and then gotten out of abusive marriages. And they ended up just because they could prove that their partner was abusive and that they were married, they took guardianship of the kids because it wasn't safe for those kids to stay with the abusive guardian.
I gotcha.
And but Olivia makes a note of like, well, maybe their mom will
Yeah,
do something. So it would have been nice had we had some sort of like return to, even if it was just an
it would have
offhanded
been.
comment
Yeah,
from Sam like, "Oh, I'm meeting up with Mindy this weekend. Randy's also," because Mason and Randy were like the same age.
if only the
Um
movie was longer, we could have gotten
because they couldn't fit that extra dialogue into the 2 hour 45 runtime. Instead, we needed just 15 minutes of driving down the road in the
Yes, we
68
needed that. Are you
GTO.
kidding? Yes. We absolutely needed that.
And then we need to bookend that with 15 minutes of driving in the minivan, which actually I will say some of the the driving scenes I did like I like
I mean,
there
Richard
was a scene.
Linklater loves driving. He's got driving in all of his
I
movies.
mean, I love driving, which is probably why some of the driving scenes I did really like. But I like sort of the bookend with Mason Senior and Mason Junior, like them taking that long drive down the road.
Yeah, he's like giving him. What are they talking about? What are they talking about at that
They're
point?
talking about like, life and manhood, and they're going out to
Yeah,
Pedernales to go
pretty much
swimming.
everything that Mason Senior is in, he's just like spilling knowledge
Yeah,
and like
I mean,
giving them advice and just like yeah,
but
just
then there's a cool like scene where Mason is driving with his girlfriend, which is just like it's like him building to like like him and his father in the car building towards life, and then like him with his girlfriend driving, and like it's just him sort of accepting life. And I thought it was a cool little bookend, and also because they were shot in a very similar way. But yeah,
yeah.
no, if Richard Linklater does like
Driving. Yeah. Watch Days
driving, yeah,
Confused, and it's
he
like the whole movie is in
yeah,
cars.
he likes putting the camera on the hood, and then he also likes the long shot with the vehicle like going down a turn. Like
Yeah.
that was pretty much anytime there was a car in this movie, whether it was a truck, a minivan, or a 68 GTO, it was camera on hood, long like long shot of the car in a turn.
In,
Or dolly like the car is
yeah.
driving along, dolly over the window and then slowly pulling out.
Yeah, and Everybody Wants Some, you have that exactly, which is the spiritual successor of Days Confused. In Slacker, there's a scene in Slacker where Richard Linklater himself is in a taxi and he's just talking to the taxi driver. Like, it has that scene could have been done anywhere else. It could have been a coffee shop, could have been a bus stop, could have been at the airport that he just came from, could have been to his destination. But no, he wanted to have that scene in a car. And in Waking Life, another scene Richard Linklater himself is in is also in a car that's a boat car. It's a boat that's been turned into a car that's driving down the road, and Richard Linklater is like in the back seat, just like talking again. And it's like that guy just loves cars.
Was he the crazy guy? Was Richard Linklater the crazy guy in Magnolia talking to himself?
No,
Okay, because I was like, I tried to look it up and I was like, I couldn't find because Mason's like, oh yeah, he's a professor in Austin, tenure track and everything. And I tried to look up who that crazy guy was because I was like, is that Richard Linklater? And I pulled up pictures and I was like, it
no,
could
it
be
wasn't.
Richard Linklater in like
Richard
20.
Linklater looks and sounds just like Owen Wilson.
Does he? Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think he looks like Owen Wilson, but I don't know if he sounds like Owen
he
Wilson,
sounds exactly like him.
who is also, isn't he also a UT alum?
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
I mean, there's a reason Wes Anderson, another famous UT alum, isn't like
Yeah,
puts
I
Owen
mean,
Wilson
he is in
in
all the
everything.
Wes Anderson movies.
Yep.
Um,
Um, yeah, I was like I was trying to figure out if that was him or not, because I was pulling
no,
up
it wasn't.
pictures and I'm like, it sort of looks like him.
He was too old, because he
And
in
Richard
that movie,
Linklater's not a young.
but in 2000 what 12 13,
He would have been like 55. No,
yeah,
he's 65 now. Yeah, he would have been like in his mid 50s.
yeah, but that guy was like late 50s.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. So like I I just know Richard Linklater the best from Slacker, and he's young as fuck in that movie. So that's just the image I get every time I think of him.
I mean, if they ever have another anime, I need to be like, who is the crazy guy in the booth?
He was
It haunts
probably
me.
a guy they found at Magnolia Cafe.
I mean,
Like, in all honesty.
or like a legitimate like physicist, because they are
Yeah,
just
like
hanging
both.
out at the
He was
university.
probably yeah, a guy like who worked at UT that like was just at Magnolia Cafe at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Is Magnolia Cafe still 24 hours? You know,
Should be.
I
I mean,
I
I
in
haven't been in Austin in a while, so a lot has changed in the 2 years I've been there. Speaking
I
of which,
mean,
dude, when they're like at UT and you see the Austin skyline and you see the Frost Tower, I was looking at that. I was like, man, if they filmed that shot today, 12 years later, it would be like 15 more buildings in that
yeah,
skyline.
yeah. Magnolia Cafe is not 24 hours,
Oh, boo! It
except
probably it was probably COVID that did that.
except Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That makes sense.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday it closes at midnight. I've never had the queso there, which after watching this movie, I think I'm gonna have to try it.
Hell yeah.
But any closing thoughts on Parenthood, the Richard Linklater
Yeah. Uh,
12-year spanning epic?
so there is one more thing I want to bring up. The the high schoolers that were like just being fucking awful and being like really misogynistic and like talking about like calling girls whores. Like we got some whores coming over, and they're like the one kid who's like literally a kid, and he's not as interested in quote unquote whores. That they call him gay and just like make fun of him and stuff. Like that scene was really like cringy and just kind of awful, but I respect it and how authentic it was
Yeah, I was gonna
because
say that's just like 90s, like
that
high
was
school boy posturing. Yeah.
every day in high school. Like it, I appreciated how it brought me back, like kind of a weird nostalgia because I didn't enjoy that because like I was definitely made fun of a lot in high school. Like it's just like, I didn't like it, but it brought back memories, and I was like, "Oh, man, I remember these exact conversations. I knew those exact kids." And so, like, it made me feel something, you know? And so that's what I really enjoy about this movie, like, above, like, pretty much everything, it, like, really makes me feel something about life, about, like, philosophy, um, just everything. And that's what I've really been like kind of going for in movies. Like when we covered Oniara, like that made me feel something a lot, and that's just what I've just been like really enjoying in film lately. So
Uh,
yeah.
what I will say about the scene is, um, when they're grabbing the beers, I had to pause it, and in fact, I took a screenshot of it. You can very clearly see that that Miller Lite can is just a piece of paper wrapped around another can.
I
Um,
guess. Yeah, you just sent that screenshot in the chat, and I don't know about clearly see, but I can see what you're talking about.
just click on it,
No,
zoom
I'm
it.
looking at it.
Yeah, like you can even see like the bubbles around the top of the can. You can see
Is
that
it
the
like an
bottom of the
old? Is it an old? Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I see what you're talking about. Is it just like an old logo that like they don't have anymore? Like, does it
yeah,
not look
like
like that anymore?
no, yeah, that Miller can, like that logo, which is interesting because that logo is probably like a 70s or 80s logo. Like that is not a 90s logo.
I mean, it's
Which
not even a '90s movie. Like that scene was probably filmed in I want to say like 2009, 2010.
Was it supposed to be in 2010?
Yeah, yeah, because at the very beginning, uh, 2002, 2003, Ethan Hawke is talking about Bush and Kerry, and then they talk
Oh,
about
that's right.
Obama
They
later.
put Obama signs
Yeah,
um
yeah, they're talking
in the
about
lawn.
like
Yeah.
invading Iraq, and then the boyfriend later on, he's talking about how he was in the army, and he said, "Yeah, I told them if there's any life shattering event or earth shattering event, like I'll come back." And then it was 9/11, and I came back at 9/12. So yeah, yeah, it's definitely
Like
it takes place when it was filmed.
it looks so like it's because I it says Miller Lite, but it looks the label was made to look like a Schlitz label. Do you remember Schlitz?
Yeah, yeah.
Do they even still sell Schlitz? It might still sell Schlitz.
Maybe
Um,
like some gas stations.
but yeah, it was made to look like an old Schlitz label. So I'm wondering if maybe that's just like a callback to that's the can Richard Linklater remembers from when he was a kid having this experience.
Yeah, probably.
Because Schlitz probably would have been a much more prolific beer in the like 60s and 70s when he was growing up than now. Like if you're, 16 and you're trying a drink on the lowdown with your friends, you're not gonna be like, "Hey man, you bring them Schlitz." Like especially in Texas, it's probably gonna be Lone Star, because
Yeah,
that's like the cheapo beer that you can be like, "Hey man, get me a 12 pack of beer. Here's a 20 and keep the change." Like they're not gonna get you an $18 six pack and keep $2. They're gonna get you Lone Star.
right. Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
but yeah, I mean that was my those are for me, this movie was good, but it wasn't. I don't know if it's one I would watch again anytime soon. Maybe in another 12 years,
Yeah, there
though.
you go.
I have heard rumblings that as we're coming up on the 12-year anniversary of this movie coming out, people are like, "We haven't heard from Richard Linklater in a while. Could he be planning something?"
Well, he just had a movie come out with Ethan Hawke this past year.
Did he
Ethan Hawke
really?
got nominated for Best Actor for a movie called Blue Moon. I have not seen it yet. I plan to see it soon. Um, I did hear that Richard Linklater is also currently working on a 20-year film,
To be
but a period piece.
completed. I was like, to be completed when he's 80? Like,
Yeah, I guess. I guess. I don't know how true it is. I just kind of heard it in passing. I definitely want to look that more into that. But I would love a Boyhood sequel.
I
Um,
mean, I guess I would. I mean, Ethan Hawke is like 50 something. Let's say 55. I mean, I would if he started filming it now, I would in 20 years, granted I'm still alive, I would watch a movie with 75-year-old Ethan
fuck
Hawke.
yeah, which is crazy. And then watch like Gattaca or something after that.
One of the we've brought up we've talked about Gattaca many times. I think that's one of my favorite movies. Um yeah, love that movie. Such a good movie.
One of my favorite Ethan Hawke movies is a pretty crazy, not really a great movie, but an interesting movie, Predestination.
Predestination is really good. I thought you were gonna say like Black Phone.
Uh, no.
Um,
Uh,
I will say my favorite Ethan Hawke movie is one that I'm pretty sure most people have never watched, which is called Explorers.
no,
It's
I haven't seen it.
got yeah, so it's Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix
Oh,
and
okay.
um
I heard about it.
yeah, so like they're little kids and I believe it's Ethan Hawke's character like makes he's really into tech, he's really into just 80s tech. He creates some sort of way to communicate with space. And this passing ship picks up the signal, and then he decodes the signal, and it teaches him how to make a spaceship. So he takes like an old like carnival go-kart or some sort of weird carnival like pod thing and makes a spaceship, and then it's him and his friends hanging out with aliens who at the end of the movie you like, well, you may watch it so I'm not going to spoil it, but like it's
Yeah,
him and his
yeah.
friends hang out with aliens.
Okay.
Really good movie. Like
All right. Yeah, I'll check that out for sure. I recommend a TV show he was in, The Lowdown, on Hulu.
The Lowdown.
Yeah, it came out like last year. It's really good. Um, and I was watching that. I was like, damn, Ethan Hawke's a lot better actor than I was previously giving him credit for.
I mean, he may have gotten better. Did you ever watch Hamlet?
A long time ago. I
He
don't even know
he
if I did.
he plays Hamlet in
I
it.
didn't know that.
Um, Bill Murray is Polonius, and
No, I haven't
you,
seen it. No.
oh, I mean, Bill Murray had the option to be Shakespearean in this Shakespearean movie that is very much trying to be Romeo and Juliet. Um, but instead he just Bill Murrayed it up. He was he
As
was
he is
like
one to do.
everybody else is delivering their lines in Shakespearean couplets, and Bill Murray's just like, I'm just gonna deliver them in Bill Murray couplets.
Only few people could get away with that.
You know, I Bill Murray definitely is one of them. The man who shows up to parties and goes, "Nobody will ever believe you," is definitely the dude who could do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm just imagining like Groundhog Day.
You know what's interesting? So Diane Venora, who was in Heat that we just watched,
Hmm.
um, who played Justine,
Oh, okay.
is is in Hamlet. She plays Gertrude.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, man, six degrees of Ethan Hawke.
And then, of course, Training Day, best one.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Best one?
Yeah,
I don't know, man, because Ethan Hawke was also in Dead Poets Society.
I said best one.
Oh, mm. Anyway, I think that's a good
Yeah. All right.
moment to close it out. So thank you all for
Sticking
being with
around this
us
long.
and listening to us chatter on about the best Ethan Hawke movie, which is undeniably Daybreakers. Uh, so we'll catch you all on the next one.